What's up, A to Z Sports Live on a Monday, starting a new week and discussing Titans quarterback Will Levis and where Chris Sims has him in his newest top 40 NFL quarterback rankings. As we get into deep June here, the NFL officially is on its 6-week break until training camp, but that doesn't mean the topics stop because we got a whole lot of Titan stuff to talk about over the next 6 weeks, including a search for maybe some pass rushers, because I'm seeing somebody in the chat, Brian, who's all capsing, why aren't the Titans doing more to add a pass rusher? I also see somebody who's making their move. Dwight is moving to the state of Tennessee, his first show, being a Knoxville resident. So congrats to Dwight there, and a lot of Titans fans jumping in here this morning, talking about Will Levis versus the NFL quarterback rankings. Let's find out where Will Levis is going to be. A little different show because I am flying completely blind. Zach is driving the show today. He has all the information. I have zero information. So we swap roles a little bit here on this Monday morning. Before we get to the age game where our regular roles are, I'm flying blind in the age game and Zach is driving the age game. So we'll see who can join the age game leaderboard at the end of the show. Zach, hope you had a good weekend. I know I did. Vols 2-0 over the weekend, and my bets on the Vols 2-0 over the weekend as they are in the College World Series. So Zach, let's get this thing rocking and rolling.
Yeah, I had the Vols twice, so I won that. I had to parlay that because it wasn't very good money in the sense they were favored. So I tried my hand at Major League Baseball that ruined those parlays. But all told, exciting. And you know what? Hindsight, we'll have a big show today. I've put a lot of time and effort into look, I'm going to run this show, I think, very efficiently, very effectively, not only for you, but also for the chat and all of the interaction. And I think you're going to benefit off of this because of all of the time and effort I'm putting in for the pre-show. I kind of got a softball a little bit for your age game. So I think this is an opportunity for you to get on board. You take advantage of all the moving pieces. The stars move around. So stars could align. We'll find out. We are broadcasting live on 3 different platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We got you locked in right there. You can see right there with Facebook, with YouTube, and with Twitch, you can get going. The best part is we'll tweet out segment by segment, link by link on our Twitter handle at A to Z Sports. Find out right there. Follow us at Twitter/X ATOZ Sports. We got you locked in with great coverage throughout the offseason, leading all the way up to training camp where you really need to lock in. But we've got some good topics going on YouTube. You got to do 3 things. You got to ring the bell. That means the live alerts are on. A little bit delayed today because of all the pre-show work. That's on me. I'll take responsibility. But that doesn't matter if you have ring the bell. Boom. Ring-a-ding-ding. If you have those live alerts, you'll know when we go live. Like this show if you've already subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you have subscribed. And on Facebook, what's going on Facebookers, bottom left corner of your screen, share now to public. Sharing is caring and caring is sharing, as we say on this show. Share the show around and make sure we pop up in your Facebook friends newsfeed. So the laundry is done. The clothes are folded. Let's get this party started.
Yep, let's be officially welcoming the A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. We are Nashville's on-demand sports network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Also hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. We got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us, and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon or online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care, and Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans, and you can do that with your health coverage and your health coverage rates by using our link to get a quote today at fbhp.com/ATOZ. So, Zach, starting off this Monday, it's officially the first week of the deep NFL offseason, but that doesn't mean the content stops. It just gets even better because we get to dive deeper into some of these relative contents the Titans have going into the training camp. A lot of new there across the NFL and with the Titans. So, Zach, we talk about this every year of Chris Sims, who formerly a regular weekly radio guest of A to Z Sports about almost 10 years ago at this point. But a buddy of yours from the past, where you used to catch passes from him in Nashville as he was trying to get back in the NFL and became a guest on our show. Now is a big-time media member in the NFL for NBC and elsewhere. Chris Sims puts out his top 40 quarterback rankings every season, and he always includes some backups. That's why it's beyond 32. But I have no idea where Chris Sims has Will Levis. I have no idea who Chris Sims has second, assuming that he has Patrick Mahomes first. So I don't know anything about this rankings. So I will toss the show over to you. You have all the keys. Drive carefully, please. I've got my seatbelt.
Yes, thank you.
I've got my seatbelt. I've got my seatbelt fastened, so I'm ready to go for any quick turns or speed bumps that we may go over.
Well, buckle up. You're in shotgun. The chat's in the back seat, and we're revving the DeLorean to 88. All right. So let's start with this. Do you think Will Levis is a top 20 quarterback?
Probably not.
This is not a probably question. This is a yes or no question. If you're going to be riding in the car, truck, SUV, you got to play by the rules. So I'll ask again. Do you think that Will Levis is a top 20 NFL quarterback?
No, which is the same answer to if I saw that Chris Frazier posted something about this quarterback rankings a month ago. No, I did not see that because I do not watch what Chris Frazier posts on the internet. So no, I have not. I do not think Will Levis is a top 20 quarterback.
Well, neither does Chris Sims. So
okay.
Let's get some of this out of the way because I don't think he's competing with Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes. But for full disclosure, let's take a look at the top of Chris Sims' list. It starts with Patrick Mahomes. Surprise, surprise. Legendary. Right. He has these by different sections, but you've got Patrick Mahomes 1, the 2 unicorns, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, damn okay in Lamar Jackson, Matthew Stafford, and Justin Herbert. The prodigy, which I think CJ Stroud is very high. Now, he had a really good season, really good rookie campaign, but 7 overall and has the Texans over the Cowboys quarterback. Awesome NFC contenders go with Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, and Jared Goff. So, look, I think you could argue maybe Justin Herbert is a little high. Maybe CJ Stroud is a little high. I'm sure people have plenty to say about Dak Prescott versus Jalen Hurts versus Jared Goff. Everybody can, I think, say Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback. So,
yeah,
I think problems there, I would say.
I think Herbert too high, Stroud too high. I like the 3 NFC contenders, awesome NFC contenders being grouped together, and it's hard to truly argue much at the top. I think Lamar Jackson should probably be in a category with Josh Allen and Burrow rather than the category behind. But again,
after his MVP season, now lost to the AFC Championship game to the Chiefs. Big time play by the Chiefs to get them to the Super Bowl to eventually win, right?
Big time play by Titans new cornerback L'Jarius Sneed to force a fumble on what would have been a Lamar Jackson touchdown pass to Zay Flowers, but Zay Flowers had rookie mistakes. So yes.
And, we'll see if he can do that in two-tone blue in 2024. So Will Levis not popping the top 10, not that controversial, but no. I would agree with your assessment of that. So now we move to 11 to 19. So this, I think you could debate, and this was, I've followed this list. I actually followed it as he released it because it was released week over week. And, when you get to 11, I think you start the man who just got paid, but a little high. Under the wild card category, Trevor Lawrence at 11, who just got the bag on Friday. You've got Kirk Cousins for the Falcons, Jordan Love, 13. The big controversy is Aaron Rodgers at 14, coming off Achilles surgery, playing for a new team. A lot of question with what Aaron Rodgers can do at the age that he's at, but has him at 14. And then you've got the good thumbs up butts, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Brock Purdy, Tua, and Geno Smith. Now, he ranked these. So you can categorize them however you want, but
Mhm.
these are rankings. This is top 40. So he put Trevor Lawrence over Aaron Rodgers. Whatever you want to say, I think that's controversial. I personally do not agree with that whatsoever.
Yeah.
But you're kind of trending. This is where the debate starts to kind of heat up with Geno, Tua, Trevor Lawrence, Kyler Murray, and what he represents for a bad team, and then Jordan Love and the performance. So initial thoughts on 11 through 19.
I would throw Kyler Murray into the wild card group. I like that Aaron Rodgers is in the wild card group. I think the good but questions. I think this was an interesting comment there from John. It says Stroud at 7, but Brock Purdy at 17. I might as well slam my head in a locker. I think that's. I don't know. Brock Purdy, nobody knows what to do with Brock Purdy, right? That's like the craziest thing.
What will Levis be on the San Francisco 49ers, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I think
a lot of weapons.
Sure, a lot of weapons, the perfect system, a great play caller. And here's what I know about Chris Sims. This is why you go back in history and start stacking things together. Back when Chris Sims was with us on our radio show, he was talking about, at that point, offensive coordinator of the Falcons, Kyle Shanahan, as the best offensive play caller in the NFL, right? And one of the smartest minds in the NFL. And we were like, okay, all right, Chris, like we know you guys were teammates at Texas. Like we got it. He's your buddy. But it's played out. But it's played out to where Kyle Shanahan has put himself in a situation where he is one of the best play callers in the NFL, which is, I think, maybe why Chris Sims has Brock Purdy lower than he would, because he believes a lot of it is Kyle Shanahan.
So here's this, I think, has some talking points. I think you've touched on it. I would not and could not rank Trevor Lawrence higher than Aaron Rodgers. I think that's malpractice. I think that's controversial. I think that's dead ass wrong, to be honest. I think Baker Mayfield, and this is coming from a guy who now watches Baker Mayfield on a real consistent basis. I think Baker's too high. I've seen him play really well. I've seen him play very, very poorly. Mm-hmm. You know, Brock Purdy, I put Brock Purdy above Baker Mayfield. I do. Jordan Love, I think, earned the spot in the top 15 where he is, and Kirk Cousins. I think Jordan Love at the end of the season showed that with a very young team, he did some stellar things.
Yeah, I would probably put Jordan Love at 11 ahead of both the Achilles guys in Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers. And then Trevor Lawrence, I don't really believe in. I think I would probably put Brock Purdy ahead of Trevor Lawrence, and then slide Trevor Lawrence behind the two Achilles guys and above Baker and Kyler. I don't know. We're splitting hairs there once you get into the middle of the teens.
Yeah, and so then it kind of gets into our Will Levis conversation. That's where I'm taking you on a long drive, a long adventure. Tua and Geno Smith, I can't sit here and ask you Will Levis versus Tua, Will Levis versus Geno Smith. I think what those two quarterbacks have done, much more obviously than Will Levis. I mean, Geno Smith is passed for 30 touchdowns. Will Levis has never done that. That's a tough, tall task to do, right? Like that's hard. Yeah. And then Tua leading his team to the playoffs, I think in a scenario in Miami where they could have gotten a better seed. They lose the last game to the Bills, but Tua has had his struggles, but he also has had his epic performances, obviously better wide receivers and a better offense with an offensive head coach that has helped him out. I still don't think that you could sit here and rank Will Levis above Tua. So that's where I'm top. I agree with the top 19. Chris Sims, Will Levis can't be in that conversation.
Yeah,
so
that for sure.
We kind of expedited that. So before we get to the next level, because I'm going to do this a little differently. Okay. I'm going to go a little bit, not rapid fire, but one by one and ask you and our backseat drivers, AKA the chat, some individual questions to compare Will Levis to said quarterbacks. And I want you to answer openly and I want you to answer honestly. But before we get there, I do want to talk to everybody about Farnborough Health Plans. FBHP .com/A to Z is where to go to get your health plan. They've been in business over 75 years. Health, dental, and vision. They've got you covered for your perfect plan, and your perfect plan can include you individually or you and your family. You and your husband, you and your wife, you and your kids, you and everybody. If you got 10 kids, Phillip Rivers types kids, they can cover them all. That's the best part about Farm Bureau health plans. You just have to take a health assessment and get a quote today. If you are in the state of Tennessee, doesn't cost you anything to get a quote. Compare it to your health plan that you currently have. Take a look, and I'm sure you may make that choice. You may make that choice. I know that A to Z Sports, the Tennessee Titans, the Nashville Predators, the Tennessee Volunteers, they've made that choice, and they've chosen Farm Bureau health plans. You can too. FBHP.com/A to Z.
Also with BetMGM, you always know you can win big with our bonus code for new users. That is ATOZ Sports. When you sign up for the first time with the BetMGM app, you have to use our bonus code ATOZ Sports because that means you get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. That's a big way to go after it. I was winning all weekend long. Zach, I know you said you did bet on the Tennessee Vols in the College World Series, but you had to parlay it because the juice wasn't good. Well, I just happened to have two separate 33% odds boost. And so I got to use that on Vols money line to make a minus 190 better number, a lot better. And I got to use it last night to make under 11.5 at minus 140, basically even money there because BetMGM's handed out those odds boosts for any sport. They've got parlay boosts and other specials for all types of sports. Golf, we had a big tournament this past weekend, as well as the College World Series, NBA Finals, Stanley Cup, all wrapping up here over the next week. And you can win big with our bonus code. That's ATOZ Sports. When you sign up with BetMGM, that's code ATOZ Sports to go big on your first bet. That's up to $1,500 back in bonus bets. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, Tennessee only. New customer offer. All promotions, subject to qualification, eligible requirements. First online money wager only. Rewards issued and eligible bonus bets that expire in 7 days. And for a problem game of sport, call Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. Zach, I toss it back over to you as I continue to be a passenger princess today on the show, as pointed out by the chat.
Well, when you're driving down the road, you're on a long road trip, sometimes the conversation gets a little heavy. Sometimes you say, would you rather? Well, we're going to play a little form of would you rather in the sense of would you rank? Would you rank Will Levis? We'll start with this one. Would you rank Will Levis above Bryce Young, number 1 overall pick, the Carolina Panthers? I will tell you what Chris Sims did later on in the program.
Okay.
But right now, would you rank Will Levis versus Bryce Young? Who would get the better ranking in your opinion?
Yes. Abso-freaking-lutely. All day, every day. Bryce Young, very, very undersized. Has some holes in his game. Apparently can't see very well to the left of the field. Throwing a lot of pick sixes this past year. So absolutely, I think it's a very easy answer for me and clearly a very easy answer from the chat that is all over this. Yes, Will Levis greater than Bryce Young, even after just 9 games for Levis.
Yeah, and so for the chat, and this is where I got to kind of turn my head, make sure the seatbelts are on. When I put that in the chat, type in the quarterback. So if you want Will Levis, you can type in Will Levis. If you want Bryce Young, you can type in Bryce Young. The chat does agree with you, though, Austin. And I agree that I think at this point in time, it's tough. Bryce Young is in a situation. He had to prove himself because of his size, but he's the number 1 overall pick for a reason. Can they improve the team around him, and can he improve at quarterback? Okay, we digress. This one I think is also interesting. Will Levis versus, let's go with Russell Wilson. Will Levis or Russell Wilson?
Man.
Because Russell Wilson ain't the man. Well, he may be the man that he used to be, but he ain't the quarterback he used to be. Where would you rank Will Levis or Russell Wilson? Where are you at with this one?
This is tough because what's funny is I believe Will Levis is making more than Russell Wilson this upcoming season, which is hilarious.
Well, No, because Broncos are paying him, but
yeah, but from a base salary standpoint, yes, he is. This is tough because Russell Wilson, his numbers last year aren't awful. Like 26 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. I mean, that's better than what Trevor Lawrence did last year, who just got $275 million last week over the next over 5 years of an extension from the Jags. I think like if you're talking about right now, who's a better quarterback, I think it's different than who would you rather have, over the next multi-year
that's why it makes
period.
it difficult, right?
Yeah, for sure. Because I would rather have Will Levis to build around. I don't like Russell Wilson. I think from personality alone, I would take Will Levis. Because
so you are ranking, to clarify, you are ranking Will Levis above Russell Wilson.
I would rather have Will Levis on my team than Russell Wilson on my team. So yes, the answer is yes. Because
Okay.
I think Russell Wilson is the actor who gets stuck playing a character and he can't break it. He's a method actor. He's been trying to act like a quarterback for years, and now he's stuck in it and he can't get out of it.
He had a couple of hits early on.
Yes, for
Some
sure.
blockbusters.
Yes, but now he's playing the same role, and you're like, all right, I know this is the same type of role that Paul Rudd plays. I got it. Like, I've seen it. It was funny 8 to 10 years ago or longer. It's the same thing. It's the same movie. It's the same character. And Russell Wilson's gone a little bit crazy. He's like malfunctioning as a robot sometimes too. So I would also have I would take Will Levis. Yes.
So Koss says Levis is youth. Wilson right now, but Levis will pass him. So Scott being honest there. Nick taking Russell Wilson as of now. Rashid is taking Russell Wilson. Joshua is ranking Russell Wilson above Will Levis. Roz says Levis. Yuri says Levis. Let's see. Rush 2 years ago. Can't play that game. Titans, Kyle, sorry. Pistol Ramsey's going with Russ. Edwards going with Sierra, so that counts for Russ. That doesn't count for Will Levis. Levis from Jay Wilson. I think, and Andrews Wilson, unfortunately, because I think it is. This is why it's difficult, because I don't think anybody's like, oh man, dude, I love Russell Wilson. I love that dude. He is sick. He's cool, man. I'd love to have a beer with Russell Wilson. Like nobody says those things.
No.
I think right now, though, Austin, I think you have to rank Russell Wilson slightly above Will Levis based on there's some history, right? What you know, and this is why this conversation is going to get even more difficult. But starting in Pittsburgh, you also have to believe what can Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers do around Russell Wilson that the Denver Broncos were unable to do. And even late in his career, the Seattle Seahawks were able to do. So
yeah, I mean, it's been several seasons removed from Russell Wilson MVP candidate, which was in the COVID year of 2020. It's just kind of taken a nosedive. He did bounce back last season, but the Broncos have a lot of problems. I just don't want to deal with any of Russell Wilson baggage. So that's my tiebreaker here.
I think the chat is probably leaning a little bit more Russell Wilson than you are, which is it's okay. But there we are. All right.
I've just been hating on Russell Wilson for too long to pick him here.
That's fair. Well, let's go to the next guy, because I think the next guy, this is also difficult. Will Levis, would you rank Will Levis above Derek Carr, Saints quarterback that has had, his struggles at time? Will Levis versus Derek Carr. The long sigh means you're thinking.
It's so similar to the Russell Wilson conversation. Like, it's basically the same. I would probably take Derek Carr as of right now. Yeah.
Ranking him above.
Yes.
Let's go to the chat. Dr. David Fan says Carr. Dron says Carr. Couple of Levises coming in from Rooney and Nick. Carr from Willie. Carr from Steve Jones. Derek Carr right now, as you said, with Darius. Will Levis from Frankie. Carr from Trigga. Let's see. Rashid, Carr, Levis goes Jason Brown, Carr. Ashley's going Levis. Cost 66 is going Levis. And, Denise says Carr hasn't done anything.
Well, I mean, he's thrown 240 touchdown passes for over 39,000 yards. I mean, like the only thing that makes me pick Derek Carr in this year is the fact that he's got experience of, quarterbacking an NFL team. He hasn't thrown under 20 touchdown passes in a season since 2018. And he still had 4,000 yards at that point. I think Derek Carr has been a victim of bad organization with the Raiders for a lot of those times and going from Oakland to Vegas. He didn't do much with the Saints last year, but I don't know what the expectations really were. Good, very similar year to Russell Wilson, better year than Russell Wilson with the Saints. I just think I would take Derek Carr. I think he's probably more higher floor, lower ceiling than Levis, but I would take that higher floor right now for Carr.
Well, and Dante brings up a good point. What has Carr done lately, though? Like the Saints, they've come close, maybe, towards the end of the season. But here's the problem. It's like in the NFL in today's age, you're close at the end of the season. That's just how things have set up unless you're an extremely bad team, right? So I think that goes into consideration. All right, let's move on to the next comparison. Would you rank Will Levis? So you went Carr. You went Levis over Wilson. We all agreed on the Bryce Young situation, and I think we were all aligned there. What about another guy in Pittsburgh, Justin Fields? Would you rank him, being Will Levis, above or below Justin Fields, who was just traded this offseason from the Bears to the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I would take Levis here.
Why?
Levis has a better ability to win from the pocket than Justin Fields has shown.
How much was Justin Fields' struggles in Chicago due to Chicago?
I mean, they had a poor offensive line his rookie year. The defense wasn't very good. I think.
Name somebody. Well, you'll be able
DJ
to.
Moore.
Besides DJ Moore, what was any type
Mooney.
Of threat?
I mean, they had some threats.
Who?
They got
DJ Moore.
Sam's boy Cole Kmet, who Sam's very high in him as a tight end.
I don't think I'm threatened by him. He's good.
Cole Kmet's a good tight end. Darnell Mooney is a good wide receiver.
But he's not threat. There were zero threats besides DJ Moore. I think that's kind of the point I'm bringing up. I'm not swaying you in one way or another.
I just think Justin Fields doesn't win from the pocket. And that's a big deal when it comes to quarterbacking in the NFL, winning from the pocket. And so he can make a lot of plays. There's a lot of Vince Young in Justin Fields as far as ability to turn it on and to make a game-winning play or a big-time drive when you have to have it. But he doesn't do a lot of the prerequisite things that you have to succeed long-term as a NFL quarterback. I don't think I would take Justin Fields over Levis right now.
Okay, and that's fair. I think the argument is what you mentioned. It's arm. It's what can you do as a quarterback with your arm. We all know Justin Fields is talented, but not to the level of like Lamar Jackson can do things with his legs that no one else can, right? We're not saying that about Justin Fields. I don't think so. So, no. Okay. And the chat, I think, leans into that as well. And, there's a couple, like Amar says, Fields might be better, talking about ranking. Eric Kraft brings up Levis also has wheels. So, okay, let's digress because you've kind of chose Levis more than not so far. Carr is really the only guy that you've picked.
Yeah, but again, you got one guy who's traded to be a backup in Justin Fields, and one guy who was in the worst football team in the NFL in Bryce Young, and then you've got head case robot Russell Wilson that I don't believe in.
Super Bowl winning quarterback head case.
What iPhone? Robot. Which iPhone was that?
An iPhone.
Yeah, but still a long time. So I think Like the fact that I picked Will Levis 3 out of 4 times is something, but also let's remember the situations here. Not exactly the best competition that Will Levis has had to beat so far in this bracket.
All right. This is another one that let's see what you think here. Daniel Jones. Who do you rank higher? Now, Daniel Jones was paid somewhat of a contract, kind of the Blake Bortles contract, but Daniel Jones versus Will Levis, who do you rank higher if you were ranking?
Yeah, I think this is pretty simple for me because Daniel Jones, he's coming off of a year where he tore his ACL so early, but before he did it, he was awful. 2 touchdowns, 6 picks, and he really hasn't done all that much consistently since his rookie year. His rookie year was really strong. 24 and 12 touchdown to INTs. Since then, it's just kind of been very, very mediocre. I would take Levis's upside is higher than Daniel Jones, especially as Daniel Jones is coming off of the ACL.
You would rank Levis higher right now.
Yes.
Not upside, not future, right now, June
right
17th.
now. I mean, they're close. Like, Lou Man says equal, but we're not playing that equal game, right? But because of Daniel Jones coming off the ACL and how bad he was before the ACL tear, 2 TDs, 6 picks, I'm going Will Levis.
Yeah, and look, the Daniel jokes are in the chat right now. They're going Will Levis. I think that's kind of an easy one.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones just hasn't shown enough of he's shown more of his ceiling, which is a lower ceiling, right? Will Levis has shown, I mean, in blips, some high ceiling. Now he's got to put it together. So I'm with you. All right. Before we get to our next two, which I think are very difficult,
okay,
tell everybody about the Bone and Joint Institute. Maybe Daniel Jones just came from the Bone and Joint Institute, right? Because he's doing some rehab.
That's right. I'm doing some rehab on my knee. Got some tendonitis I'm dealing with, and it's honestly getting a lot better. I've been doing physical therapy for about 3 to 4 weeks now. All my patella tendonitis at the Bone and Joint Institute in Brentwood, and they're helping out quite a bit. They are the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever an injury happens in life, you have to know who you can turn to, who you can trust to get back on the path of recovery, to live life the way you want to do it. It is frustrating when you're hurt. You can't do certain things. You have to constantly think about, all right, how can I maneuver around the day without aggravating this injury? That's the life I've been living for a little bit, but got my knee checked out, and the Bone and Joint Institute is helping out get me back to where I don't have to think about that knee anymore. But you can do the same thing. They are the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care with all the resources, all of the experts right here in Franklin, and physical therapy clinics and other spots around Williamson County and growing. Book an appointment online, boneandjointtn.org.
A to Z Sports Bet MGM. We talked about college baseball yesterday. It's College World Series maneuvers on. A little ball night tonight. You got the NBA Finals. Can Dallas extend the series to a game 6 and send it back to Big D? We'll find out tonight in Boston. Bonus code ATOZ Sports. Get in on the action. You can see the lid right there. That's BetMGM. We ride with BetMGM. You should ride with BetMGM. That is bonus code ATOZ SPORTS. Download the BetMGM app today on your Apple or Android app store.
All right. I think you've given me some layups here in this early Will Levis rapid fire comparison. So
you've gone Will Levis, though. I mean, if you have leaned in to Levis.
Well, again, because I picked Will Levis over Bryce Young, Daniel Jones, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, and then I didn't pick him against Derek Carr. So it pretty mediocre replacement level quarterbacks at this point in the NFL.
All right. What about Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson?
God.
You got Will Levis. You got Deshaun Watson coming off of an injury in his first year with the Browns. They've got a ton of pieces in Cleveland. They got a tough division, obviously. Deshaun Watson, we've seen a lot of over the years. We haven't seen some of them over the years because of certain situations. But I think this kind of ratchets it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Where would you rank Deshaun Watson versus Will Levis?
Will Levis threw more touchdowns last year than Deshaun Watson did. I don't know if the contract is taken into consideration in this situation too. It's so hard because the whole "what have you done for me lately" conversation is big too, just like with Russell Wilson. I think this is a very, very similar spot with Russell Wilson, because if I picked Levis over Russell Wilson, I have to stay consistent and pick Will Levis over Deshaun Watson, because it's been since the COVID year of 2020 since Deshaun Watson did anything to prove something, where he had almost 5,000 yards passing, 33 touchdowns, and 7 picks in 2020. Since then, he's only thrown for 2,200 yards and 14 touchdowns in half of 2 different years, sitting out a year, getting hurt. He wasn't good before he got hurt. The Titans gifted him a win in week 3 last year. I'm going to have to say Levis, because like Eric says, oh, Watson tore the Titans up. Not really. The Titans allowed him to get right. Deshaun Watson had back-breaking, turnover-worthy plays early in that game, and the Titans let him off the hook. So I'm going to say I would take Levis over Deshaun Watson because I took Levis over Russell Wilson.
This is where we disagree. You cannot, in any right mind, take Will Levis over Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson has done so much more than what you think or we assume or could be Will Levis is right now. I mean, this is a bad take. So
I'm staying consistent.
Consistency. You could be consistently not smart or wrong, right? This is, I think, one of those where Deshaun Watson, you are going to rank Will Levis currently right now above Deshaun Watson.
He's played 12 games in the last 3 years. Like, we know what that does to NFL players when they miss a season. They come back.
Will Levis didn't stay healthy. Will Levis missed multiple games, multiple occasions. Will Levis had ankle injuries, had to miss time, didn't finish the season.
I understand that. And that's not,
let's call both sides.
Zach, timeout. You're not understanding or listening to what I'm saying. Is that I don't care. I'm not making this about, Deshaun Watson can't stay healthy. I'm just saying that he's only played 12 games in the last 3 seasons because of multiple reasons. One, of all the allegations and things that happened to have him miss the 2021 season. And then 2, the suspension that he got from that situation. And then he was not good when he came back. I'm still talking. He was not good when he came back from suspension. And then he comes back to start the last year, and he was not good out of the gates, and then he got hurt. I'm taking those 12 games after suspension and before injury and be like, I don't necessarily think that Deshaun Watson is the same guy that we saw in 2020 and before.
We can all agree that the massage situation was just that, a situation. And look, agree, disagree, whatever you want. That has since been behind him, right? So now he's working to actually play football. An injury impeded his process to get back after that hiatus, right? Deshaun Watson, I think, has shown he can, and honestly, the injury to his throwing shoulder too, right? Like,
sure.
And he tried to play through it. I actually respect and Deshaun Watson usually don't go into the same sentence, right? But at least in that situation, trying to play through it and want to play and not just being like, all right, I'm shutting it down because I got money coming my way. I actually thought that was respectable from Deshaun Watson. The other stuff, obviously not. I don't think you can rank Will Levis above Deshaun Watson. Let's go to the chat real quick, because some people agree with you, obviously, because they're Titans fan. But Eric says Levis. Titan says Levis. Andre goes Watson. Levis from Joshua, Billy Jones, and Ashley. Watson coming in from Willie, Steve, Deshaun Washington. Might have to go Watson from Trigga. Unfortunately, Watson. Roz is going Levis. Nick is going Watson. I mean, Corey's going Levis off principle alone. I don't know if that's justified. Watson is done. Levis wins this from Brock. Hate Deshaun, but picking Deshaun here. Levis, Deshaun is a cancer. So again, it sounds like the people that are picking Levis in the chat are leaning more towards the off the field situation more than the on the field situation. And the people just picking Watson, I think the chat majority is going Watson.
I just think, look, that's fine, but Deshaun Watson was not anything impressive the last 12 games that he's played. He missed time multiple periods.
He had blips like Will Levis did. Will Levis wasn't consistently awesome. He had an unbelievable start to his career against Atlanta, struggled after that at times.
But I also know that Will Levis had absolute dog doo-doo around him, where Joe Flacco took the Cleveland Browns on a trip where he wouldn't throw for under 300 yards and took them to the playoffs off the streets. And Deshaun Watson was struggling, and Joe Flacco did it without Nick Chubb. And I think Deshaun Watson is still, because, look, an injury to his throwing shoulder, right? You haven't brought up Anthony Richardson to this point. I'm sure he's on this list at some point, but he's not even able to throw right now at Colts mandatory minicamp and OTAs. He was throwing with his left hand going through some drills because he can't throw full speed yet. So Deshaun Watson has a significant injury to his throwing shoulder that had him get shut down on a playoff contending team a year ago after only playing 12 games in the last 3 seasons and not looking sharp in the 12 games. I think Deshaun Watson has his best football behind him. And his best football was really freaking good. His best football was phenomenal.
His best football is behind him? You're saying
I do, yes.
Wow.
Because he was so good.
That is a bold statement that I disagree with.
I mean, Zach, his best football is an MVP candidate type level.
His best football is a playoff win and then a second-round loss.
His best football is 4,800 yards, 33 touchdowns, 7 picks, and running for whatever else he did. He was an MVP candidate with his best football. Do you think Deshaun Watson can get back to playing at an MVP level after what you've seen over the last 3 years?
I think with the pieces that the Browns have provided around him, I'm not going to say that his best years are in the background.
Again, like his best year.
Yeah, he has a better team now than he did with that Texans team. What do you mean? Look at, do you know who's on the Browns roster?
Yes, I know who's on the Browns roster. Their defense
a lot better than that Texans team.
The Texans team is pretty good, though.
At the defense of the Cleveland Browns and the pieces that they have, the Texans couldn't sniff their jock today.
Okay. Well, the difference in Deshaun Watson then and Deshaun Watson now is what's the difference maker. I think the Texans.
And I think it's going to take time. And he was not afforded the time because of the injury. That's my opinion.
Yeah, again, but regardless.
Okay, so yet another Will Levis above said player. Okay, this is getting interesting because we haven't even revealed Chris Sims, the whole basis of the show, of where he has Will Levis compared to where Austin Stanley has Will Levis.
Yeah, this was
a little bit
so
different. I would say slightly different.
Yeah.
Let's go to our final quarterback that pertains to this list as how we are asking. And I think this is one of the more difficult ones, and that's based on really the unknown. Will Levis, would you rank him higher than the mystery that is Caleb Williams? Because Caleb Williams is on Chris Sims' list. Now, where, I'm not going to tell you just yet.
Yeah.
But he's on there, so I got to ask the question.
And I think for me, as a rule, and I don't know if this is going to spoil more of your graphics, I rank rookies individually than I do with I would not have anybody who is started or is looked at to be the starter, the planned starter for an NFL team. I don't put rookies ahead of them. I think it's dumb and a waste of time to rank Caleb Williams wherever and put him ahead of guys who are starters, established starters for their teams. So I would rank Levis ahead of Williams because I would rank Levis ahead of all the rookies that just got drafted.
And that could
just out of principle, right?
Like as a technique.
Yes.
I understand that. And I think Chris Sims had some of a technique with this list. There was going to be controversy. He's in media. We all know why you place Aaron Rodgers at 14, because you know that 14 best quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, give me a break. Trevor Lawrence versus Aaron Rodgers is
Now,
ridiculous, right? So.
I would draft Caleb Williams over Will Levis, but for rankings, period, I would rank Levis over Williams and all the others. Yeah.
Okay. So I think that's fair. I don't have any argument with that. I think you can have a baseline of that. I think the interesting thing is, though, every single quarterback that we just went through, Chris Sims has above Will Levis. Caleb Williams, 20. Russell Wilson, 21. Derek Carr, 22. Daniel Jones, 23. Deshaun Watson, 24. Justin Fields, 25. So the reason why I went through this road trip like I did was you have Will Levis a lot higher and closer to 20 than Chris Sims does, because he has every single solitary quarterback above Will Levis. What do you think about that?
I see Pittsburgh.
And I haven't even shown you where Will Levis is.
I see Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cleveland Browns, the New York Giants, and the first overall draft pick Chicago Bears that are a lot better for clicks for Chris Sims.
Oh, so you think that's just based off clicks?
Yeah, because look at how he's categorized.
I think some are, but
like Justin Fields, like come on, Daniel.
If he was
Jones,
just based on clicks, Dak Prescott would be 4. So come on.
Yeah, but you can't justify that. I think you put Dak Prescott 7, and you can piss off Cowboys fans that think he should be 4, and then piss everybody else off that think he's too high at 7. I think it's perfect. Like, so I think, look, I just don't. I think Daniel Jones and like I can understand anybody picking. Here, show that graphic up there again, please. I can justify anybody ranking Russell Wilson, Derek Carr, and Deshaun Watson over Will Levis. I can even understand the Caleb Williams thing. It's not how I would do it, but I would do it differently with all the rookies. But Daniel Jones and Justin Fields being ahead of Will Levis is just dumb, because those guys, I mean, they're on the correct category. Like, do your thing or get off the pot. And I think Deshaun Watson isn't correctly categorized there. But again, like Daniel Jones and Justin Fields are the ones I have the biggest issues with. But I'm not going to like hate on anybody who ranks these quarterbacks like that.
Okay, before we get to Will Levis's ranking, do you think we started the conversation with, do you think Will Levis is a top 20 quarterback? You said no. I said no. I think we're agreed to that. Do you think Will Levis is a top 25 quarterback?
Would I rank him in the top 25? Probably not.
Here's the hard part, Austin, is you've consistently ranked. You can't say that. That's why I'm asking you these questions.
I think it's hard, like
your answers say that you would.
I think he's a bottom. I'm trying to do math. I think he's a bottom quarter, a bottom 8 starter. But I also understand that, like, I would still, like, head to head, I would take him over Daniel Jones. I don't know. I don't have the whole list in front of me to go through. So I think it's hard for me to.
Well, that's why I did the work. That's why I did the work. Let's go through it. No, let's just do it. It's pretty easy. Here's 1 through 10. Here's 10 quarterbacks for you, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Do you rank Will Levis above any of those?
No.
Okay. Let's move on to 11 through 19. Do you rank Will Levis above any of those?
No.
Right? So now we're at 19. Let's get to 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. You've just ranked Will Levis above Justin Fields, above Deshaun Watson, above Daniel Jones, above Russell Wilson, above Caleb Williams. Based on your rankings, you are sitting here telling us that Will Levis should be 21, 22, around there.
Yeah, sure. Of like who I would take like long term, like again.
Well, no. By rankings, it was a specific individual question.
But I can, like, I would take him. I did not say Derek Carr, right?
Right.
Like,
that's why I said 21 or 22.
I mean, yeah, I think mid 20s is probably fair. I also don't know who's behind. I don't know who's behind this list that I would probably have higher, right? So I don't have the other.
Okay, that's fair. And I'm glad you asked, because Will Levis lands for Chris Sims at the number 26 slot. Powerful arm, athleticism, jumps out, and you can see his pocket presence improving from the games that we see. So that's where Chris Sims has Will Levis at 26. So behind Will Levis, which I think you asked and brought up the conversation, I think then kind of goes to the tactic that you kind of disclosed, which is you're going to rank, and look, Michael Penix Jr. is high on this, but Michael Penix Jr. at 27, Jaden Daniels at 28, Bo Nix at 29, JJ McCarthy at 30. Those four quarterbacks haven't played a snap in the NFL.
Yeah.
Right.
And now we're just getting to Chris Sims' draft evaluation of these quarterbacks, basically.
Probably, right? Probably. So, but we're trying to find the answer is, in your mind, do you rank right now Will Levis as a top 25 quarterback? And so far, I think based on your answers, yes is your
answer.
So
the answer, so
no.
Now that I have more information, the answer is absolutely yes. Will Levis is a top 25 quarterback in the NFL this season. I think I'm not compliant. I think 26 is a fair ranking. I wouldn't, if I saw that top 26 or top 40 ranking from Chris Sims and saw Levis at 26, I'd be like, all right, yeah, that checks out. Like, it doesn't, like, I'm not bothered by it by any means. I don't think Levis is done dirty or done overrated by any means. I think that's a solid spot for Will Levis. I would have him a little bit higher because of Daniel Jones and an injury and Justin Fields being a backup and being traded for a 6th-round pick. Like, Will Levis is getting traded for a higher draft pick than what Justin Fields just got traded for, right?
Currently, but he has more, like, he's played more games, right? So, like, the trade value was based off a longer resume,
and nobody else was going to take, like, a 6th-round, trading a top 1st-round quarterback on a rookie contract still is, for a 6th-round pick, is pretty damning, is it not? Yes.
Well, the Bears were just trying to get something, right? Because they were going to draft Caleb Williams. So, and we don't know. The Steelers came in fairly early. I mean, look, I'll be honest. I was shocked that Kenny Pickett was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. That didn't, I didn't see that coming. And what was his value? I don't know what that trade was.
I don't remember off the top of my head. You looking it up?
Yes, because
so I think Will Levis being from, ranked 23rd through 26th or so is totally solid as a quarterback ranking right now.
Steelers gave up. Well, wow. Steelers gave up a 4th-round pick. Pittsburgh will receive a 3rd-round pick and 2 7th-round picks. So they swapped. There was some nuance to the deal.
Yeah, for sure. So,
all right, let's go one rung down, though. So the rookies, beyond the rookies, and I think an old familiar face for the chat, Ryan Tannehill at 31 for hire. Then you've got Anthony Richardson, Sam Darnold, Bryce Young, and Jameis Winston. Not surprised about Bryce Young and Jameis Winston. They are where they are. Sam Darnold hired just because, the reports and probably all of that coming out of minicamp and OTAs is he has more experience than JJ McCarthy. And then Anthony Richardson, do you think that's right to rank Ryan Tannehill above Anthony Richardson? And do you think that Ryan Tannehill's ranking is correct on this list?
I mean, Anthony Richardson has yet to finish a game that he started in the NFL.
Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah, because he had a concussion and then he had a shoulder. So, like, he wasn't starting. I guess he started with, like, playing spot quarterback. And so Richardson, there's too much. And Jeff says it's false. He played 4 games. Yeah, but he got knocked out.
Yeah. I don't think that's true.
He got knocked out of 2 of them, though.
Yeah, but you said he didn't play a complete game. Now, if that's the case, there's something. But I don't think that's correct.
I feel like I feel like the backup quarterback came in multiple times, in 4 games. Again, it's still
this is well.
Okay,
but
so
no. I mean, that is a pretty. First game of the season, Richardson versus Jacksonville. I think he played the full game. 31-21 loss. The Jags won. Box score.
Okay, so Jake says Anthony Richardson hasn't finished a game that they won. They were 2-2, and the 2 wins, Minshew came in for injury.
Yeah, because he was 24 of 37 for.
So there's where I had my mental stat mixed up. So the 2
but that's
games
unfair to Anthony Richardson.
No, fair. I'll correct myself. So yeah, I had my stat mixed up, but yeah, I think Anthony Richardson, you don't know enough. So Ryan Tannehill, the last game he started, he won to knock the Jags out of the playoffs. There's something to that, right? I mean, you got to give him credit, but I think, I think I don't know how you put 30-year-old Jameis Winston in the young and reckless category either, but that's
I think just reckless.
He's just reckless. Yeah.
Young and or.
Yeah.
That's what it should say. It should say and/or.
I think really what he should have done is the young and the reckless and keep it at those 3 and then just have another divider that just says the reckless. then it's Jameis. That would have been better. So I think, look, Levis, yes, I feel comfortable saying I would have Levis as a top 25 quarterback in the NFL, probably around that 23 spot to be most fair. But I think
you rank him a little higher right now than I do. I think the only one that I agree, and I think the chat agrees, you can't put Justin Fields above Will Levis right now because of him being a backup. I think you can justify Russell Wilson. I think you could justify Derek Carr, weirdly enough. I think you could definitely justify Deshaun Watson. Caleb Williams is weird because he could be this unbelievable generational talent that is on. Let's just the Bears are a really good team on paper. We don't know what that will actually come to.
Yes,
during the season.
Right. So I also have a smaller pool of quarterbacks to pick from because I'm moving all the rookies back. Right.
So yeah, it's 1. So he jumps up to 25. So that's why I say in your ranking, Will Levis is about 22. Now, where can he be at the end of the season? That's what we're all asking. Can he make that jump to a top 20 quarterback? Because if Will Levis this year makes the jump to a top 20 quarterback, now we're talking him in the same conversation of Baker Mayfield, been to the playoffs. Kyler Murray, been to the playoffs. Brock Purdy, been to the Super Bowl. Tua, been to the playoffs. Geno Smith, been to the playoffs. All of these quarterbacks have been to the playoffs. Now you're a playoff quarterback to kind of get into that top 20, which is tough. That's where I think you have to have entry fee.
I think this is where now who's dropping, right? If Will Levis is going to jump up into a top 20 situation, who's falling off? I think there are candidates to fall off. I think
easy.
Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Tua, and Geno Smith all are candidates to fall back.
Absolutely. I agree 100% with that.
And then adding Derek Carr as a candidate to fall back in the other, if you go to the next spot, and Justin Fields would fall back. Russell Wilson can fall back. So there's like, I think I listed like 10 guys that are candidates to fall back now. But what happens if JJ McCarthy leads the Vikings to the playoffs? I don't know. I mean, there's been crazier things that happened, or at least has a really good showing.
He's got the best wide receiver.
Yeah, he's got a lot of really good weapons too. He's got not
this
just
is what we should do at the end of the season. Let's make a note and let's figure out if Will Levis. I'll have all these graphics still saved on my computer somewhere somehow, and let's see if Will Levis enters the top 20 because that should be the goal. We just went through every single 11 through 19 quarterback is a playoff quarterback or has been to the playoffs, right? So that I think tells you got to have like an unbelievable season, and usually unbelievable seasons end in playoff appearances, especially because there's 7 playoff teams now.
Yeah. Orlando says, put it on the calendar. I'm going to quickly scroll to January. I will put this on. Let's do a little January. How are we going to do this? Because I guess this would have to be like January 6th, January 13th.
Whoa. Don't trigger any.
Oh, God. I'm looking at Mondays as the season's over when there's not going to be a playoff conversation. So
that's just good comedy right there. You pick one date, and that's funny. That's funny stuff right there.
All right. So I'm inviting you to Monday, January 13th, which I believe should be after the wild card round of the playoffs. to see if Levis is a top 20 quarterback or not. So there you go. You can accept that invite for the 13th of January. That's a Monday.
And what Denise brings up, I guess Justin Herbert, did he make the
2 years ago.
playoffs?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah,
And
he
they-
lost.
he's-
Yeah,
Trevor Lawrence
That's right.
threw
That
4
crazy,
picks. Yeah.
crazy game.
Oh, good Lord. All right. Let's go ahead and get to the age game here. You said you were toss me a softball maybe for the age game because I've been, travel princess for the whole show here. But first, shout out to Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. They'll make you the travel princess of buying a new vehicle. Go see our friend Payne Bone out there in Lebanon and save some money on that new ride. Check them out online, wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
All right. Easy. I think this wasn't too long ago, so you should be able to get it. I think for the chat, it's being quick but not hurrying and submitting at the right time. I'm playing. Maybe it's the summer nice guy because last week we had 2 winners from the chat to get on the board. This week is more of a softball, but yesterday was watching Florida State, and they showed a graphic that actually was very surprising. I don't know if you were watching at the time, but they showed all of the most college World Series appearances, and Florida State has never won a national championship in baseball. And I feel like they've been a premier baseball program for a long, long time. So that made me think, how old was Bobby Bowden when he died? And he just died a couple of years ago. The exact date I won't tell you, but how old was Bobby Bowden when he died? Chat, you can get this. Quick, don't hurry. That's the question for today's age game. Bobby Bowden.
We done this one?
We may have, so that makes it even easier for you.
I think we have done this one, but that doesn't make it any easier for me because now I'm just second guessing everything that I thought.
You thought.
Yeah. I would say.
Would you now?
I think 88. I think 88. That's going to be my answer.
You think 88?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you can think that. You're going to submit
I do know this, that Mike Martin was the longtime Florida State baseball coach of 39 years who retired a few years ago, also passed away this past summer, late summer, early fall.
At the age of, do you know that?
I do not, even though I did see that story on either Friday night's baseball game against the Vols or yesterday's game against who the hell did they play? Virginia.
Well, I was going to go with an older baseball coach too, but I thought that was going to be too difficult for you. Remember Augie from Texas, the head coach,
No.
Augie Guerrero?
No,
he's like he is probably the most famous college baseball coach
that I don't know.
besides Tim Corbin. Yeah, Tim Corbin would probably be. But so your final answer was
88 is my answer.
88 your answer.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, 88 is incorrect. A few years off, a few years off, not a couple years off. We do have a new winner to put on the board, so we are going to congratulate as we upload. We are going to congratulate a new winner. Man, I thought this is just softball city right here, but couldn't get it done. The correct answer is brought to us by a longtime viewer, because I've recognized the name, Billy Jones, Billy the Kid, Billy guesses correct at 91. Put Billy on the board. Billy, right there at the bottom. Congratulations, Billy. You're on the age game leaderboard. You are chasing greatness. That is Brock Kraft. That is John Kavanaugh. That is Anthony Malley. Not one, but 2-time winners, 2-time champions. Billy, put you on the board. Yes. So congratulations to Billy on that. That was one of, and let me make sure, that was the first answer. So congratulations to Billy Jones. Yeah, that's why I didn't say anybody else's. Quick, don't hurry. Billy.
His Titans Collins, seriously, I feel like that was as fast as I could have possibly been.
I mean, that is a non-Google answer.
Yeah.
That was from the dome. So congratulations. There you go.
I was like, I knew this. I looked this up.
Maybe next week. Well, you know what I'm doing, Austin? I'm saving a place for you right there on that left side.
We've talked about this.
Okay. All right.
I know where my spot is. It's like when you pick out your plot at the cemetery. I know exactly where I'm going to be. Yeah.
That's where you're going to be. Immortalized.
Yeah, exactly. All right. That is it for us on this Monday. Good show, fun show. Maybe I'll just be passing your princess more often. I kind of like that overall. All right, but make sure
I'm kind of worn out. I need a little pit stop.
You're tired. All right, shout out King VC. Lock in, like the show. Please hit that like button before you guys head out of here on Facebook and on YouTube. That goes a long way for us, and we'll see you guys tomorrow on a Tuesday. Buck Rising live tonight with A to Z Sports Primetime. More Titans content throughout the day. Appreciate it as always. Talk to you later.
Adios.